Well, Wagme fam, we're halfway through our character reveals, and today is the Human Emperor Melek. And I'm very curious to know, so make sure you comment down below, if you were anticipating this video just because you guys know that we have a Human Emperor suit. In fact, it was custom made to fit me specifically, and now we're gonna have to make a new suit. Our friend John over at Shroud Industries is gonna have his work cut out for him because the new Human Emperor costume is gonna have to be massive. I'll probably have to have stilts in that thing just so that we can give off the proper effect of just how big Melek is. But, you know, this suit, it holds a special place in my heart. This is me and Ian with the co-founder of Immutable Robbie at NFC NYT. We took the suit to New York. We walked all around the city, myself and Ian. We got a ton of amazing photos in Times Square. We met the locals, had some fun, and then we even went out at night because the entire suit lights up and just got some incredible pics. And there was a few parties that we were invited to. One of them was the OKX party, and it was like at this penthouse, and it was on the top floor, and the elevator went directly to the penthouse, and like the door opened, and then you just saw me standing there in the suit. Everyone just kind of stopped what they were doing and looked over like, what the heck is going on here? The suit is badass. So what's going to happen is, at least in my mind, this is the original suit. The new suit will be like the Mach 2. And eventually I'm going to have a room in my house where I line up all the suits just like the basement at Tony Stark's house. That's my plan. I mean, even in the trailer, Melek shows up, you know that this guy is the Human Emperor. He is the leader of the Wagme defense. And so GadgetBot had to take that and then punch it in even harder so that even if you didn't even know what the Wagme defense was, when you see this character, you knew he was the leader of something, right? Just like when you go and you see the aliens, as soon as you see Emperor Temelicus, you know that he's the leader, especially when he's among the rest of the aliens, right? Of the Grey Alliance. So we needed that same type of reaction from him. And to be honest with you, the Human Emperor, again, right, like he was already a complete character. In fact, I think out of every single character, he was the most complete, which also helped it make sense to spend the money to create a cosplay costume of him to take to events. And so they had their work cut out for him. He's already looked pretty badass, and we didn't want to lose the magic that the Human Emperor has either, right? He has a really cool look and vibe to him. So GadgetBot, man, they just dug their heels in like they did for every other character, and they brought him to life. And so before we go into that transition, because it's a really amazing one, let's learn a little bit about Melek really quick. So Emperor Melek lost everything at an early age after the first alien invasion in the 28th century. So he's actually quite old. He was caught in the crossfire of an aurora beam and was mortally wounded, but he was able to survive only after having been rescued by a benign alien race, the Virtues, that experimented on him with cyborg technology. He's seen the demonic nature and cruelty of the Grey Alliance and will stop at nothing to protect the Earth and its people from being enslaved by evil alien races. Equipped with NiFe armor, elemental powers of the Virtues, and his Omega rifle, he's unmatched in combat. So, you guys know, this is what the Human Emperor looks like. The first rendition, and I know like you guys have seen this image a few times, I use it in every video. You probably have been looking at this first image of the Human Emperor and just wondering, what the heck is going on? Because that looks nothing like how he looks right now. I mean, I think GadgetBot went way overboard. He almost looks like a transformer here, right? And his gun is so big. I don't even think if we made that in real life, I'd be able to hold that gun. It's just so friggin' big, right? But, you know, go big or go home. And we were happy that they went in with some really cool ideas because there were some things that we did pull from here. But we had a conversation about the Human Emperor and said, okay, let's try to go towards like what he already looks like now and evolve that form. And so this is what we got for sketches for round one. And I gotta say, we had a really hard time picking between these starting points. I mean, A looks really cool, right? I feel like A almost looks like the type of character that he's big, but he's also fast. Kind of has like that juggernaut look to him, which I thought was really cool. And then B is almost like a Shogun version of the Human Emperor. And it looks a lot like the original Melek Toss, right? Just a Shogun version. And then over here for C was something, I wouldn't say completely different, but there was a lot more gold put in the character. I actually really liked this sash idea. And we actually even talked about the cape too being added at some point. And these are all cool things that could be done in the future, different variants, different skins, right? Maybe the Human Emperor can change his suit. So I think there's a lot of really good stuff here that we could possibly pick and choose from in the future, but we decided obviously we had to pick one variant to move forward, and we ended up going with this one right here. And you can see we liked the crown kind of built into his helmet. It gives that emperor vibe, right? And the bulkiness of his upper body and his arms and his legs, everything looked good. We wanted to make sure that that blue was still there. Those blue lights are, iconic for the Human Emperor, so we want to make sure those were there. And of course, we have the Wagme W here in the middle, which that actually changes quite a bit over the course of his evolution. But this is where we started, guys. This was like, okay, this is the new Melek Toss. Let's see what we can do with it. And so some more detail was added, and we thought it looked great. But then we said, let's try some different variants and see what we can pull out of him. Because, again, he's the Human Emperor. We want to make sure when he shows up, like, okay, that guy is the guy you don't want to mess with. And it's crazy because from round 3 to round 4, all of a sudden, we had this massive mech suit that was shown to us, and I was not expecting it. Like, to go from, here to here, and then all of a sudden to have this in the middle, I was just blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, guys, we need to make sure that we incorporate these different suits. So in the game, the way the characters evolve, their costumes and things are going to change. And so we haven't 100% decided on how we're going to do it yet, but we do want to have some type of evolution process for this character where maybe he starts out like that, and then he, maybe level 4 or 5, he looks like this, and by level 10, he looks like that. So there's a lot of different things that we can do, whether or not we decide to make this the Human Emperor, how he starts at level 1, or we go to one of these other variants that he evolves over time. But for the sake of revealing the characters and doing this massive, release and upgrade with GadgetBot, we said, you know what? Let's go big or go home, and we're going to go with the Human Emperor here in the middle. And so some notes on him were we just wanted to give him more of that athletic feel, right? His legs are super bulky and stocky, and he looks a lot like the Hulkbuster here. And we really liked how, even though he's in a big robot suit, his legs here still look athletic, like he can run. And so when they came back with the next variation, they took that feedback and they brought it and they gave us this form of his legs, which I think looks a bit better. I think it gives him more of a solid stance. It lets you know that, yeah, I'm big, but I'm also quite mobile. And then there were some other things that were changed too. The W in the middle was kind of split in half. You guys can see right here. There was a W added to his shoulder, which wasn't there before. Before, it was just an empty space, so the Wagme symbol was on his shoulder as well. And then more detail was just added throughout the entire character. And then from here, more detail was added. You can see all these like cool lines on his armor that just kind of give it a bit more depth. It's on his helmet as well. The blue lights are starting to really come through a lot more. And the way the blue lights are shining is giving some really good contrast between those lights and the white of his armor. And, we just felt like, okay, it looks really good. Let's punch in that detail a little more. And you guys can see as I go back and forth here, more of those fluorescent blue lights were added in the armor. You can even see there was some more detail put on the tip of his gun. Let me zoom in right here. You guys can see that the blue is coming out of the front there to make it look like it's almost being charged up or it was recently fired. And I talked about in the first video that there was a specific reason why the alien emperor, Emperor Temecula, we did those fluorescent veins on him because we wanted to show with the human emperor that same kind of fluorescent. I mean, obviously he's in a mechanized suit. He's in a robot suit, so those aren't veins, but it's a really good contrast between the characters, and it kind of just, again, brings home that message of he's the leader of the humans, the Wagme Defense, and he's the leader of the aliens. And so we just thought, you know what? Go big or go home with Melek. It's a little sad that the other suit might not be as useful at events. We're still going to bring it, obviously. But hey, it just means that, John, we're going to be calling you soon because we need a new suit to show up in. But this one we're going to build for someone else to wear. That way, if I ever want to bring the other one and have a little, like, battle royale, we can do that too. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow with another character reveal.